And stunting and wasting are the forms of undernourished. Two forms of malnutrition, undernutrition and overnutrition.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yeah,
We can't see the screen.
you can't see?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Can you see?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yeah. Sorry, you must have missed out just 2, 3 screens. It was just about malnutrition and the types of malnutrition, undernutrition and overnutrition. Okay. So now what is undernutrition? Undernutrition occurs when a person does not get enough of one or more nutrients like carbohydrates, proteins, fats, vitamins, or minerals. So any of these nutrients, if it is deficient in your diet, then a person is said to be suffering from undernutrition. Now there are 4 forms of undernutrition. There's stunting, there's wasting or muscle loss, there's underweight, and there are deficiencies of vitamins and minerals. Stunting, where a child is expected to attain a particular height for a particular age. If that is not attained, that means he is stunted. Okay, height for age difference, as it is seen on the screen. Next one is wasting or muscle loss from the body. As I had told you in the earlier part, that proteins are very important for muscle formation in the body, building up of muscles. If there is a lack of proteins in your diet, then the child or any person can suffer from muscle wasting. Next is underweight. A person is not able to attain a particular weight for his age or his height. So that is when a person is called underweight. Next are all the deficiencies, as I already discussed in the first part, the calcium deficiency. These are the most common ones: calcium deficiency, iron deficiency, vitamin B9 or folate deficiency, vitamin D deficiency. And what it causes, I have already told you all. Calcium and vitamin D will give you all rickets and osteomalacia, which is very commonly seen in children. Iron deficiency is seen in teenagers because they eat less of green leafy vegetables. Vitamin B9 or folate deficiency, when the animal protein is not enough in the diet, it causes folate deficiency. It also causes anemia. Okay, so effects of undernutrition: it directly affects the immunity, it affects proper growth and development. Low immunity or frequently getting coughs and colds. Next is poor growth and development. Is a symptom of being undernourished. Next is hypothyroid. It affects the kidney functions, which is also called renal function. So you're not able to excrete enough water from the body. Then there are anemia of different types: folate deficiency anemia, iron deficiency anemia. The body is not able to synthesize enough hemoglobin. Then iron is not easily absorbed in the body. Also, folic acid is not easily absorbed in the body. Then there are diseases of the neuromuscular system where there are muscle cramps, myotonia or stiffness of the muscles, slow reflexes, carpal tunnel syndrome where the wrist becomes very stiff and it gives a tingling sensation in your fingers. Then there is central nervous system. Central nervous system also gets affected where the symptoms are fatigue, lethargy, depression, inability to concentrate on your work. Next is anemia. Anemia, as you can see, the symptoms are fatigue, weakness, pallor. As you can see, you saw on the picture, one hand is very pale. There is no red color on the palm. There's pallor. There's shortness of breath. You cannot breathe, easily, smoothly. Headaches, chest pain. These are all symptoms of anemia. Next is something called xerophthalmia. There is abnormal dryness of the conjunctiva or the cornea. There is inflammation and ridge formation in the eyes, and there is corneal ulceration. So these are all defects that you can see in the eye. This often happens due to the deficiency of vitamin A. Next is overnutrition. Overnutrition occurs when a person gets too much of the nutrients. And the effects are, it affects the sense of hearing, sight, taste, smell. This will come in the last part of the talk where I'll explain how overnutrition affects this. Then there are mood swings, having too much of refined carbohydrates. It causes mood swings, anxiety, and other psychological disorders. It can cause obesity, heart ailments, hypertension, type 2 diabetes, and many other diseases. Overnutrition is very, very harmful. As I told you in the first, it affects all the senses. Second is mood swings and anxiety, as I told you all. Having too many of refined carbohydrates causes this. It can cause other psychological disorders too, like there's something called mania, there's something called phobia, paranoia, or OCDs, obsessive compulsive disorders. Now, we have seen what malnutrition is all about. Overnutrition and undernutrition. We've seen the forms, we've seen the types, what happens. Now, what is the cause of all this? What happens? Why? Why does a person become malnourished? There are many others, and let's concentrate more on the overnutrition part because we are dealing with the urban group now. In the rural areas or in the less privileged areas where the as I said in the beginning of the talk, let's give enough importance to our food, enough respect to our food, give enough thought to the food, and choose your food wisely. That is what happens here, and that is what causes. So, not drinking enough water or consuming excessive amounts of cold drinks, skipping your meals, abusing processed foods, and indulging in fat diets. All these things are predominantly seen in the age group that we all are in. Mostly you all skip drinking water and drink only cold drinks during your breaks. Maybe go to the canteen and just grab a bottle of cold drink. Skipping your meals, you don't have time in the morning. You just get a plate and just get ready and just rush to your college. Right now you all must be having online classes, but still that must be the habit of people, just skipping breakfast, skipping certain meals. So that is also a bad idea. Why, we'll explain in the next part. Abusing of processed food, I have. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, miss, we can hear you.
Yeah, okay. Abusing, and can you see the screen also?
No, ma'am, we cannot see.
What happens? Yeah, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So abusing of processed foods, I'll go into detail in the next part. And indulging in fat diets is what is commonly seen in this age group, where people just go, they feel they have put on weight, so they go in for some keto diet, just, villainizing of one particular nutrient and just making another nutrient the hero of your diet, just having a lot of fat, or just having only proteins, no carbohydrates at all, or something called GM diet, just having fruits only for one day, just not eating anything else, not having enough of all the nutrients or proper proportions of the nutrients in the diet. Indulging in these fat diets may give you ready results for weight loss. But in the long run, it will affect your body negatively in many different ways. Hello?
Yes, ma'am, we can hear you.
Again, you all must not be able to. Are you all seeing the screen?
No, ma'am.
No, yes, yes.
So what happens?
A kind request to all the participants, please do not share your screens, okay, because it creates a disturbance for the speaker.
Okay. So the next part here is 7 reasons to avoid processed foods. Okay. So first of all, in order to understand what processed foods are, we'll understand what are the types of foods: whole foods, minimally processed foods, and heavily processed foods. Whole foods are the foods which are there in their natural form. There is no fiber removed, there is no nutrition removed, and it is nutrient dense when it is there in its natural form. Okay, no fiber removed, no nutrition removed, and it is nutrient dense. Examples are whole strawberries, whole green peas. They are whole foods. Next one is minimally processed, where some nutrients are retained and it is slightly processed. Examples are when the same foods are, I've just taken the examples of strawberry and peas only, just to give you all a fair idea. So if they are only frozen, nothing else is done to them, only the temperature is reduced, then it becomes minimally processed foods. So not a lot of nutrients are lost, or of course nutrients may be lost due to the decreased temperature, but otherwise most of the nutrients are retained. Okay, so it is minimally processed. Next is heavily processed, where most of the nutrients or all the nutrients are lost because of the heavy processing of the food. There is grinding, maybe there is additives, there are a lot of chemicals added in the form of maybe preservatives. Let's come to that a little later. Here you can see the same strawberry can be made into a jam, and the peas can be made into maybe chana, jor, garam, or anything, any food product that is made out of peas and sold in packets. Okay, to which a lot of spices and all flavors are added. So they become heavily processed. Like for example, in strawberry jam, sugar is added, strawberry pulp, artificial is added, artificial flavors are added, pectin is added, citric acid, sodium benzoate, which is a preservative, is added, acid red 14, acid red 112. Acid red 14, acid red 112, these are the colors that are added. So colors, preservatives, flavors in the form of chemicals are added to these foods and they are made heavily, they are processed heavily. Okay, so now let us go to the reasons why you should avoid them. First one is, as I already told you, if they are processed so heavily, what happens is a lot of nutrients are lost during the process, and majorly vitamins and minerals are lost. So the food that you eat in a pack is often very low or completely nil in vitamins and minerals. There are no vitamins and minerals in the packaged foods. Second is, they are absolutely stripped of their fiber. There is no fiber in the diet. Now, what happens when there is no fiber in the diet? Fiber is very important for the good digestive health. As I already told you, it makes the stools soft, and it can be eliminated from the body easily. It prevents constipation. It makes you feel fuller for a longer period of time, so that you don't feel hungry all the time. You don't keep on eating because there is enough fiber in the stomach to keep you feeling full for a longer period of time. Okay, if this is not there, you might tend to eat more. Also, you might suffer from constipation because the stools become hard. So for all this, fiber is very important in your diet. Next is, you might ask me, we have fiber added in attas and biscuits, fiber rich biscuits. You can see the ads on TV saying this biscuit that you're eating is very healthy because there is fiber added to it. But in the first place, there are no nutrients at all present in this biscuit that you're showing me on the screen, right? it's heavily processed. The grains that are used in it are completely stripped of all their nutrients. And after that, if you're adding fiber, it is of no use at all. Okay, so how should you have your fiber? You should have your fiber in the natural form, just as you can get it in the nature, in the form of legumes, in the form of fruits, vegetables, nuts, where the fiber is intact and all the other nutrients are also intact. Only then the fiber is going to help your body. Next is added sugar. These packaged foods have a lot of added sugar in them. Why do they add a lot of sugar? Because it gives taste, texture, and it increases the shelf life. So they are not bothered about your life. They are bothered about their shelf life. So they want the shelf life of their product to increase. As a result, they add a lot of sugar to it. WHO, World Health Organization, recommends only 25 grams of sugar per day. Whereas these one packet might contain around 100 grams of sugar. And just imagine if you're just opening 4 or 5 packets per day of maybe some sweetened candies or something and eating them. So just imagine how much of sugar you're putting in your body, which is very, very harmful to you. Next is there are additives, a lot of additives, just as I told you in the strawberry jam part. Stabilizers in the form of stabilizers, preservatives, artificial food coloring, flavors, gums, texturizers, MSG, monosodium glutamate. Okay, monosodium glutamate is one additive that was banned some years ago because the ill effect of it was very strongly known that it affects the nervous system of infants and growing children. So that is why it was banned. But now you might see it, hidden in some Chinese food, some packets of chips or something, but you might not realize it is MSG. So we don't know exactly the ill effects of all the other chemicals that are added to our food. So we are in doubt. So when in doubt, always stay without, do without, just stay away from all these packaged foods, because there is a sense of doubt when it comes to the chemicals that are added to your food. Next is these foods are very, very addictive. They're addictive. You can't just eat one and stay. You want to eat more and more of it. You want to eat it every day. Every single day, you want to eat only this kind of food. You don't want to eat whole foods because they are addictive. They are designed or engineered in such a way that you want to eat more of it. You don't want to eat any other food but this food. Okay. So what happens is your taste buds get so acclimatized to this kind of taste that you don't want to eat any whole foods. Taste preferences change, making it harder to enjoy whole foods. And it makes it hard to transition to a healthy diet. Okay, you want to shift to a healthy diet. You understand it internally that you want to change and you want to have your whole foods, but it is not allowing you because it's already played the game on your mind. You already want more and more of these colas and chips and ice creams. Okay. Next is these processed foods contain a lot of refined carbohydrates. Now, why refined carbohydrates are bad? Because they are stripped completely of their fiber, vitamins, and minerals. There are no nutrients present in these refined carbohydrates. Okay, so they are only empty calories, only calories. It can only increase the calories in your food, in your body. It cannot give you any nutrients. And it has a very high glycemic index. What it means is it suddenly spikes up your blood sugar and increases the insulin level in your body. And whenever the insulin level increases, what happens is there is a lot of fat storage in your body. Okay. Also, this causes weight gain and high cholesterol levels. That is why refined carbohydrates are very bad. And one of the refined carbohydrates, as I told you, is sugar. So not having a lot of sugar is why I have told you not to have a lot of sugar is because of this. Examples of refined carbohydrates are all the cookies, muffins, cakes, candies, white pasta, noodles, bread, fruit juice. Fruit juice, you might be surprised to find in this list, but fruit juices are also as bad as any other food on this list, because fruit juices that you find in cans and in packages, they are all packed foods. They are processed to such an extent that there is no actually nutrient present in them. It's only colored water. Okay, so fruit juices, if you want to have the benefits of, you should directly bite into the fruit and not make it into a juice. The last one on the list is it causes a lot of health issues. what are the health issues? Heart diseases. It can cause blood pressure, diabetes, high blood cholesterol. These packaged foods, they can give you so many diseases. Now, how does it happen? First of all, because of the addictive nature of these foods, you tend to overeat. If you overeat these processed foods, you're cutting down on your whole foods. And if you're cutting down on your whole foods, you're cutting down on all the nutrients or all the benefits of the nutrients that you can get from them. And if you have no benefits of the nutrients, what will happen? Your body will obviously go into a diseased mode. It can cause a lot of diseases. It can give you a lot of diseases because of the ill effects of the processed foods. So now let's see. Now we've seen how a person gets affected by these processed foods, this form of malnutrition, how this malnutrition affects the society as a whole. Let us see quickly. We have a little time for this. So let's see. What does malnutrition do? Malnutrition in all its forms can cause diet-related non-communicable diseases like heart diseases, diabetes, hypertension, stunting, wasting, deficiencies, etc. in all its forms. It might be undernutrition or overnutrition. It causes a lot of non-communicable. So you cannot give the disease to others, but since it has become a habit of the whole society to eat in such a way, the whole society can suffer from all these diseases. You might not be transferring it to the other person, but because it has become a habit of the whole group, it can be prevalent in the whole society. These kind of diseases, heart diseases, diabetes, hypertension. It increases healthcare costs and reduces productivity. Obviously, when there are a lot of diseases, you need to spend more on them to cure, right? So healthcare costs will increase. And if the healthcare cost increases, if you are unhealthy, obviously your productivity will go down. Your energy to work, your energy to produce, to be productive becomes less. So the healthcare cost goes up and productivity decreases. Next one is it slows the economy. Obviously, because there is less productivity, there is less economic growth of the society as a whole. Next is it perpetuates a cycle of poverty and ill health. So poor people will have ill health, and people will with the diseases will become poor. So there's a cycle that it follows. Okay, poverty increases your chance of getting ill because there is poor nutrition because of poverty, because of lack of availability of food. There is poor nutrition, overcrowding. There's less place. A lot of people in a small place. There is lack of clean water. Harsh realities that putting your health at risk may be only way to survive or keep your family safe. Okay, so that is how poverty will lead to ill health. Now, poor health increases poverty also. How? Reducing a family's work productivity. If someone is ill in the family, he might not go to work because he cannot work. And if he's not working, there is no productivity. There is no income coming in, leading families to sell their assets to cover the costs of treatment of ill health. That is how poor health will give poverty will give rise to ill health, and ill health again will lead to poverty. So there's a cycle, a vicious cycle. Next is children with weaker immune systems. Children will have weaker immune systems because right from childhood they might not have enough nutrients to give them the immunity boosting. The last point here is malnourished women and girls of reproductive age give birth to small and undernourished babies, and the cycle continues. As you can see in the next one, a stunted child grows into a malnourished young girl. This young girl will become a malnourished mother, and she will give birth to an underweight baby, and the cycle will continue. Because the baby is underweight, it will become a stunted child, again the malnourished girl growing into a malnourished mother. The last point here, I've made it into a flow chart for you to understand. Undernutrition can cause lack of attention, poor cognitive function, reduced academic capabilities. Undernutrition here is a wrong word. I'll say malnutrition. Okay, it can be under or over. Malnutrition leads to lack of attention, poor cognitive function, reduced academic capabilities. If there is less skill in your workplace, the output and the productivity will be poor. and it will lead to poor economic development of the society or country as a whole. So as we have seen that the effect which is of malnutrition as a whole. Okay, so now that brings us to the end of this topic. I think I've covered all the points. I hope you all have understood each point. Now you all can, if you all have not understood, you all can ask me anything about this that you've not understood. Hello? Hello?
Yes, miss, we can hear you.
Yeah, I have come to the end of this topic. I've explained all the points that I had to. I hope you all have understood all the points. I hope it has benefited you all. I hope you all have registered the important points of how to overcome this malnutrition, the wrong habits that you all were following. I hope you all give up all those wrong habits and get into the habit of following a balanced diet. I hope you all have understood and enjoyed the talk.
Okay.
Does anyone want to ask anything?
If you have any question, ma'am.
Hello.
We are open for question answer session. If you have any questions, you can please ask, ma'am.
Hello, ma'am. I had a question. Can I ask?
Yeah, please go on.
Ma'am, you had mentioned that in a vegetarian diet.
Yeah. Is it about the protein?
All the essential amino acids are not present, right? So what can vegetarians do about this? What are some of the sources?
Yeah. Very good question. Very good question. Yeah, there are certain pulses which lack in the amino acid called methionine, and certain cereals which lack in the amino acid called lysine. I hope you all can hear me.
Yes, ma'am.
If you combine the pulses and the cereals, like for example, in the making of the traditional food called idli or dosas, we always combine the dal and rice, or dal rice also. Right. If you're eating plain dal, poor dal and rice also, what happens is in proper proportions, it should be in proper proportions so that they both complement each other. The lysine from the cereals will and the methionine from the pulses will complement each other, and they will complete the protein. So vegetarians need not worry that their protein is incomplete. They can always combine pulses and cereals in proper proportions so that the protein in the total product will be complete and it will benefit your body. Am I?
Yes.
Yeah. You understood?
Yes, ma'am. Got that. Yes, ma'am. Totally. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. And ma'am, what about this myth? There's a myth. I don't know if it's a myth. You'll be able to tell whether too much of soya is it's not good, or there's a thing going around like that, right? Whether it's myth or whether it is true. Could you shed some light on that?
Too much of let me make this clear. Too much of anything is actually not good, because there are certain elements present in soybean which might affect the digestive system. So although it is the richest form of protein, it has a rich proteins in it. 40% of soybean contains protein. Correct. But that doesn't mean you should go on eating only soybean throughout, because there are certain components which might affect your digestive health negatively. So that is why soybean, or anything, just because you know that one particular food is good, you just cannot eat more of it. That is what.
How much would you recommend, ma'am? Let's say on a weekly basis.
Weekly basis, daily also. I think not more than 30 grams. That is one serving. 30 grams is one serving. Yeah.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Hello, ma'am.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah, I'm Smita Fernandez. Your talk was very enriching. I would just like you to throw light on PCOD is a very common problem with young girls today.
Yeah.
What are the foods which they should avoid?
Okay. Again, in PCODs also, processed food plays a very important role. Uh, Trying to avoid all these foods which have a lot of trans fats. Trans fats again affects the thyroid gland. Okay, and thyroid gland is the gland which produces hormones which affects our reproductive system. So that is why eating a lot of trans fats or fried foods or processed foods will affect the thyroid gland. So trying to avoid all these foods will help, aid the reproductive system to work in a better manner, smoothly, and most of the problems related to them will be avoided.
Okay, then what about consumption of chicken? Is it harmful for a person having PCOD?
I don't think consumption of chicken is full. It is overconsumption of, some people have only chicken for dinner, only chicken, and protein rich foods, just protein rich foods, and they make the diet completely low on carbohydrate, which is not a good combination, which is not a good protein together will not affect the body negatively, and that as a result you can have chicken but not every day, every single day, and not just chicken. You can combine it with any other carbohydrate, maybe in the form of chapatis or any other breads that you feel are safe, not maybe brown bread or something like that, or rice also. But the quantity of chicken or the protein that you're eating should be within limits. Like I would suggest only 50 grams per day if you're having, and you can
Okay.
make it just thrice a week.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Anything else?
Ma'am,
Ma'am, there are two questions in the chat box. So one is by Anufa Naik. She's asking if there is any substitute for milk and is it necessary to consume milk every day? And there is another question by Prachi Shirulkar. She's asking what food can we include and exclude to avoid menstrual cramps?
Okay. First, let's take the milk part. I won't say milk is indispensable. You can have milk. You can avoid milk also. Because you're avoiding milk, you're not doing any harm to the body. But if you want to substitute, you can substitute it with other milks that those are made popular right now, but not in the processed form. You can make them at home and have like almond milk or coconut milk. But then I don't think that is also required. If you're skipping milk for a particular reason, there is no need to include it in any form, because you are getting your proteins. As I told, complete protein can be attained from combining proper plant-based foods also. So milk is not such an indispensable food, I would say. But if you like your milk and if you're lactose intolerant or something, then you can have in the form of almond milk or coconut milk or even soya milk. But you should find methods to make the soya milk at home, not the packaged ones, because however much safe they might advertise it to be, I wouldn't promote a packed soya milk. Okay, so that is the answer for your milk part. The second question was about cramps, about the menstrual cramps, right? So this all deals with muscles and muscle relaxation. Again, a good protein food will help in the proper functioning, smooth functioning of muscles, but not heavy foods. Okay, so instead of just concentrating more on what to eat, we should also concentrate on how much water to drink. So during your menstrual cycle, you should increase your fluid intake more. You should have more of water. You can also have your coconut water. It has a lot of potassium, so it also helps in the cell exchange. and as a result, it helps in so cramps will reduce. Have warm water. Warm water also helps in the relaxation and to relieve the contractions that you feel. So that should take care of it. Hello? Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yeah.
Nowadays, the packaged milk, it is good for health.
Uh, Actually, the most natural and the healthiest form is when if you can get it from directly from the dairy, but it is not possible. So the healthiest form of milk that is available is only in the packed form. But in that also you should choose which is the healthier one, because sometimes some packaged milks, they stink of the fodder that the cow has, and I don't know, some chemicals added to them. You should test, and then you should come to one. There is you should go to certain firms and find out which can give you all the most organic form of milk that is available. I think the sources are very important. It's nothing to do with packaged or unpackaged, but the dairy from where you're getting is important.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Ma'am, Monisha has asked how much water is required per kg of body weight.
Water, I would say it's always based on the climate. It's based on climate rather than body weight. Like if there is more heat, you are supposed to consume more water. An average adult should consume at least 3 liters of water, and during summer you can increase it to 3.5, and in winters you can have a little less water. It need not be according to your weight.
Abel has asked a question. If cholesterol is on the higher side, then proteins like pulses can be eaten. That's in the question.
Sorry.
Abel has asked a question. Whether he can eat pulses if the cholesterol is on the higher side. I mean, maintain the protein level.
Pulses are a very good source of protein, and it has pulses. Certain pulses particularly so it is very good to include pulses in your diet.
Ma'am, there is a question by Muriel. The question is, can water lead to bloating, and is there a right time to drink water?
See, just because you're supposed to drink 3 liters of water, don't drink a lot of water at just one time. Just distribute the intake of water throughout the day. If you're having too much water just before your lunch or during your lunch or just after your lunch, what will happen is it will interfere with the digestive system. It will interfere with the juices. And try to include as many as vegetables and the seasonal fruits as possible. So as I told you, overall, if you have a look, then maybe 2 to 3 servings of fruit and 6 to 8 of vegetables. And mostly the vegetables, not those exotic vegetables that you find nowadays in the markets, just to make the plate attractive. The red capsicums and the yellow capsicums. You stick to the local and the seasonal ones.
Okay. If there are any other questions, we can take. Last question maybe for the day.
Ma'am,
Yeah.
Daily consumption of dry fruits, does it cause indigestion?
Again, as I told you, uh, not more than a handful. Dry fruits are very good for your health. They give you a lot of benefits. Nuts, as I told you, they are rich in proteins, also, acids also. They are very important. ALA, alpha linoleic acid, all these things are very important, but not more than a handful of any of the nuts or total completely assorted dry fruits you should have throughout the day. Too much, even a little more than a handful also can cause bloating, because the proteins inside it might cause bloating.